Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 99th episode of Let's Talk About the Market. So, if we see today, the Nifty index did rise higher, but around the 26,000 mark, it did find resistance. And we had spoken about this yesterday that around 26,000 mark, it will be an important resistance level. That is because, a lot of call writing had happened around that level, and also today was the weekly expiry, so that resulted to you know uh, there was some selling pressure around this 26,000 mark. But what do we expect next from here, and what's the outlook? So let's talk about that. And I'll quickly share my screen. Please, as always, if someone can please confirm if you all are able to hear me properly, so we can get it started. Meanwhile, I'll just open the Nifty page. Yeah. So yeah, if someone can please confirm. Okay. Thanks for the confirmation. So we were talking about this, that the Nifty index broadly is having a positive trend. The reason being that it is trading above the hourly averages, but there is some sort of weakness that is now showing up. So one is this hourly RMI going into sell mode. Other thing is that the swing and the average swing, which we look out for, right? So there, if we see swing today has gone down even when the Nifty index has risen higher. Now, please understand we are trying to find the momentum over here. So what can possibly also happen is that the stock is rising higher, but it is possible that the momentum goes up and then it starts declining, right? So this is what we are trying to capture, whether the momentum is rising or not. And if we see the Nifty index for today, there is some downtick that is visible. So typically, these are early signs that somewhere over here a consolidation or a correction is likely, because you can see over here, right? It has gone over here. In fact, actually, this is a better example. After a down move, we have seen an up move. It reaches 80, and after that, you end up seeing sideways consolidation. Where the swing is sort of getting sideways. Now, a lot depends also on what the trend is, because if the trend is up, then you will just see a consolidation and then an up move. But if the trend is down, then you will see something like this, right? Sorry. Then you end up seeing something like this, where around 80, 90 reading ends up becoming a short term top, and it ends up correcting. So right now, given that Nifty is in such a wide range, so we don't know whether the trend is up or down. So like I was mentioning yesterday, the best way is to trail it with the hourly averages. Okay, as long as hourly averages are holding, it is all good. Maybe you can even tighten it to 20-hour moving average and try to ride the trend as much as possible. But the sense that I get looking at these indicators, which is swing, average swing, and so on, that there could be some sort of correction or consolidation that can happen. Maybe it form some side of some kind of sideways consolidation or so on, and then only it might rise higher, because you need to understand that after forming a low of around 25 or 24,580, it has kind of risen almost around 1,200 points or so, 1,300 points or so. If we avoid this and only take from year to year where the actual price traded has happened, so then you can end up seeing a move of 1,200 point or so, which is significant. So sometimes the Nifty do tend to take a breather, and that is what possibly can happen in the near term. But like I told you, if the markets are very strong, then you end up seeing something like this: up move, consolidation, up move. So like I was telling you, the swing which was over here, right, October 8th, which is around this point. It had gone to overbought zone, but we ended up seeing sideways movement and then again an up move. So this is what I'm expecting, that there can be some sideways consolidation that can happen, and then maybe we take it from there, as to what is happening, whether things will turn ugly or it is likely to rise higher. So I've already mentioned that somewhere around this 25,400, 25,450 mark is an important support level. I think if this breaks on the downside, then there is scopes of some weakness that can be witnessed. But until then, we are okay. But like I said, the real trade or the directional trade would be if it ends up breaking out this high or this range on the downside. Until then, it is more or less likely to consolidate and go sideways only. And there are few trends that we are seeing right now, which is that FIs were are broadly into this kind of a short covering mode. I think a lot more confidence we'll get it once the FI's positioning actually cross minus 1 lakh 8,000. Sorry, what is the highest over here? It is like around 1 lakh. I think once that breaks on the upside, that's where we might end up getting more confidence, because then it would be like a 1 year or I think July 2025. So 1.5 year high would be above this point, right? Around the 1 lakh mark. So I think if the FI's positioning crosses above the 1 lakh mark, then that's where you can hope for this ultimate short covering to play out. But until that is not the case, the risks are open, that because over here also I thought that short covering might happen. What ended up happening was furthermore shorting that eventually happened, and it led to a correction. Again over here it led to a correction. So can something of this sort happen, that you end up getting some covering and then again it goes down, and which lead to a decline? I mean, these are all things that we cannot rule it out. So you need to keep this in mind. So right now the best thing to do is that since the trend is up so far, that is what the price action is telling, though the momentum seems to be weakening a bit. So trail it with the reversal levels, either 20 or 40, whatever you are more comfortable with, and watch out for what Nifty does over here. Okay, if this zone is broadly held on the downside around the 25,400 450 mark, then it is all okay. And what might just end up happening is maybe we again attempt to rise higher towards the upper end of the channel. So that is what I am thinking at this point of time. And like I told you, I mean, the I would be constantly watching out for what these data points tell us, because over here also you can see the OI PCR has started to inch higher. But one of the reason to also maintain some caution in the near term is because I think I was checking the OI PCR for the Nifty index specifically. So Nifty PCR, and I think it had gone to around 1 point. Okay, no, I think, wait, let me just check it over here. Okay, so you can see over here that it is somewhere around this 1.11 mark, right? I mean, and if I do the combined OI, it is around 1.4. But I think during the day it has also gone to around 1.3 or so. But broadly, like you see over here, 26,000 will act as a strong resistance, and this zone needs to be taken out, for any meaningful move. Until then, there is a possibility of this being an important resistance level. Let me just remove this expiry and add the other important expiry, at least the near ones. Okay, and over here also you will see that 26,000 is like a major resistance zone. What I've done is that I've removed today's expiry so that it doesn't skew the data. And still, you can see that 26,000 call as a very high open interest, and of course then you have 27,000 also as a very strong zone. So, something that needs to keep in mind. So, call being at, I mean, very high call open interest at 26,000, swings declining, on the daily chart. I mean, the daily swing that I'm talking about is kind of telling us that somewhere the Nifty is, sort of losing momentum in the near term. And that is where we need to be a little more careful about. Okay. And apart from that, the so most of the indices are actually trading above the key daily averages, and these are all good signs. But from a bit of a medium term perspective, it could be approaching those medium term resistance line. I mean, that is not the case with mid cap actually. So for mid cap, the resistance line is this rising trend line, whereas in micro cap, small cap, it is all of this falling trend line, which is like a important resistance level. So these all resistance level needs to be broken on the upside, and from there we have to take it as to how things unfold. So some degree of caution in the near term is warranted, mainly because the average swing has gone to these overbought zone, and somewhere it's giving an indication that the momentum is getting lost, right? So it is always like this, that when you want to turn around and you are in the car, initially you will be at a very high speed, but then you will try to slow down the speed so that you can turn, right? So this could be possibly that sign of slowing down and turning around. So be careful of that, and I think the confirmation of some more correction that can play out is when the 40-hour breaks on the downside. So these are a couple of things that you need to watch out for. And sorry, just give me a minute. Uh, so yeah, these are some of the things that you need to watch out for, and more importantly, watch out for the data points that we are discussing, because this I have been tracking closely for last 2 3 days, so that you'll understand how to actually trade and think based on these indicators. Okay, I think percentage of stock about 20 SMA for mid cap is around 80. Stocks with MACD buy. Okay, so the stocks with MACD buy has actually gone to 85, while on RMI, it is at 86 and now turning down a bit. So yeah, I mean, this could be an indication of some sort of cool off, or something that we can see in the near term. So yeah, broadly look out for some signs of weakness. And like I told earlier also, the next trade might end up happening in the short term is when you end up seeing prices above. So say for example, if we end up correcting towards these levels, right, which is an important support zone. So imagine that the correction has happened over here and we are above the important support zone, and swing ends up happening, I mean, going to this oversold zone. Then it will be a sign that from here a turnaround can happen, and which can be profitable as well. If you want to do a short term swing trade, but that is where the next opportunity lies. Right now, for the bullish move, it is kind of late in the near term, so wait for those setups to play out. So I think broadly that is what I wanted to suggest. So I think since last 2 3 days the market has been dull, and this dullness is also seen based on the momentum, which is kind of losing its pace on the upside. So yeah, broadly in the near term, Nifty is kind of I mean, it's in a bullish trend, but the indicators are suggesting that the momentum is losing. Uh, on the upside is basically being lost. So be a little careful of that. So far, we haven't got a trend reversal as such, but breaking below the hourly averages will kind of lead to a bit more correction in the near term. Okay. So that's it from my side. If you'll have any questions, please do let me know. Yeah, unfortunately, there is not much to talk today. Because more or less the market is not doing that much. So any questions, please let me know. I'll be happy to answer it. Any questions, please do let me know. And yeah, I think one observation that I just want to show is that a lot of stocks that I saw today, basically in volume buzzers, where they are turning around from a very very, they were almost down and out, those stocks, and now they are trying to turn around. So I'm not sure if there are any triggers or no in that, but maybe you might find it helpful. So I'm just talking about it. You see something like this, then root mobile, you can see it was at lower levels. So today it was in green, but then it ended in red. Then Bata India, again, it has fallen off the cliff, and from now it is trying to from the important support level, it is trying to turn around. So maybe just keep an eye on these volume buzzers. Maybe, I don't know, if you end up getting some important ideas or some interesting ideas over here. MACD is nothing but moving average convergence divergence. So that is like a technical indicator. You can just Google about it. It works like RMI. Like you can have a bullish crossover, bearish crossover, and you can try to trade on those signals. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. I can't see any questions. So yeah, we can wind up the day for today, since I'm not seeing any questions, and we can catch up tomorrow, and see how things go. Okay, so that's it from my side. See you all tomorrow at 5 p.m. Thank you.